Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today, we're going to be focused on how to unleash the power of AI in customer experience. And we're going to be talking about what AI Quiq is using to empower customers to solve their own questions, as well as agents to be smarter and use AI as assistants. I'm Mike Meyer, CEO and founder of Quiq. If I haven't met you already, it's a pleasure, and thank you for joining today. Max Fortis, one of Quiq's illustrious product managers, is here with me as well, and Max will be helping me with the demo today. Our agenda for today is all about AI, and we're going to be focused on really kind of these two different use cases. The first one is how LLM-powered assistants can answer customers' questions directly. And then we'll be looking at how agents can be more efficient, and we'll incorporate demos into both of those sections. So to kick things off, let me first say that we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the background and the underlying AI technologies that are used inside of the features and the technology that we'll be showing today. And so we've prepared a lot of material at the following URL, and you see it on the screen, quiq.com/generative-AI. And at that page, I encourage you to go visit on your own time, and you'll see a number of videos where myself and other members of the Quiq team talk about how AI was going to change customer service, what large language models are, and how they impact customer experience. And also at the bottom of that Generative AI Resource Center, you'll see that we have a section called LLM Intuitions. And so if you ever want to really understand how ChatGPT works, check out this series at the end. This isn't like a quick product demo or a quick product video. It's really just generic information about how LLMs and ChatGPT and really how AI works. And so if you're curious about being smart and learning how under the hood these things actually function, I encourage you to check out that section. And in about an hour, you'll be super smart and you can impress people at dinner parties. All right, let's jump in. So I want to talk a little bit about what LLMs do. And so LLMs are large language models, and they are the AI that underlies ChatGPT. And one of their core skills is the ability to read and write language. And that's not just English, that's basically all languages on the internet, because large language models, the large portion of that refers to the fact that they've been trained on all this information that's available in all different languages on the internet. And from that training, the LLM has developed the ability to read and write language, because they've seen so much language that when they see one word, they can predict what the next words in the sequence are going to be. And so that's a super valuable skill, because humans communicate in written language. It's what we all do all day long in business. But LLMs also have a second skill, and that is the ability to answer questions with search. And so everybody has probably heard about hallucinations, inaccuracies, maybe not the right information, maybe conclusions that are based on some facts that the conclusion is not actually directly followed from the facts. All those things are considerations and concerns with using large language models in business. And so if you think about the two skills that LLMs have, what we really want to be able to use the LLM is we want to give the LLM amnesia. And so what I mean by that is essentially extract the ability to read and write language and turn off the ability for the LLM to actually return items from searching. So in other words, from all the things that the LLM has learned, lose all those facts, but retain the ability to read and write language. And that's actually very much like teaching or having a human get amnesia, because if a human has amnesia, they can communicate, but they can't remember any facts. And that's exactly what we want from the LLM. So how does this all work? Here, if I was next to you in an office and we were drawing on a whiteboard, this is the picture that I would draw. And so let me walk you through, because it kind of explains how we're using the LLM. And I'll touch on risks in a second, because everyone's concerned about how can I use AI safely. We'll touch on those risks as we talk through this and in the next slide as well. So how does this work at a high level? So the customer question comes in, and we take that question apart, we decompose it. And we do that in a couple of cycles. We might ask the LLM what the intent is. We might ask the LLM what the customer's sentiment is. We might ask the LLM what the subject of the topic or the reference is. Is it about the person or is it about their daughter? We might ask the LLM what entities or what objects are referenced inside of the question. And we do that in a cycle. And once we've extracted all the information that is necessary to answer the question, then we go off into an informational retrieval phase. And this is really important because back to that previous slide that talks about LLMs and amnesia, the information retrieval is essentially replacing the LLM's memory. And so we go and maybe look at static knowledge, policies, manuals, etc. We also will go and query internal systems. So using APIs so that we can look up account information or order status or product availability or product catalogs. All those information can be pulled into the LLM. And so then from that, we basically take all the company proprietary, customer specific information, and we ask the LLM to compose a response for the question. And at a high level, because the LLM knows so much about language, it's able to absorb the facts that we've given it and compose a very personalized response. So if the person asks a question about my daughter, the response is going to come back as my daughter. Now, there's a concern that when the LLM responds, that in fact, the response may not only use the information we provided, but it might use some other information that it was trained upon. And that's where part of our secret sauce comes in, is the ability to actually restrict that LLM to behave as if it has amnesia and only use the information that we've provided. And we do that in a couple of different ways. We also apply, after the LLM has actually given a response, we apply some additional filters to perform fact checking and safeguards. And so that entire process is how a customer's question gets answered through an LLM. So it, at a high level, seems pretty easy. In practice, there's a bunch of technology and techniques and best practices, and this is part of the magic that the Quiq team is able to deliver to our clients. At this point, you might be worried about, well, my company, my friends, the news, everybody's scared of AI. And so what you're saying sounds great, but I don't know if I want to take the risk. And so I'm here to say, actually, maybe you should take the risk because the benefit is worth the risk. So let me explain what the risks are and how to overcome and address those risks. The first one is the one that I just talked about, this accuracy of response. And the underlying theme is, can I make sure that the LLM is providing only the answers from information that I've provided? And the short answer is yes. And that's part of what we do in that process that I just described in the prior slide. So we have accuracy, but then there's oftentimes concerns around data privacy and security. Like if I use an LLM, where is my data going? And how do I prevent the data from being used and maybe even coming out of somebody else's language model later on? And the shorter answer is that's a concern if you're using a publicly available LLM like ChatGPT. It is not a concern using a commercial product like Quiq because we have agreements in place that basically treats the data that you're providing us to be used in the LLM along in the same way that all the rest of your data is treated, so that that data is not used for any other purpose but to deliver the service to you. So there's no concerns about the data being used in training and maybe potentially being exposed in the future. And then there's always the question of like brand tone and safety. Is the AI going to be creepy? Is someone going to come along and actually like do something to my site to make the AI say something bad? Maybe the AI is going to recommend a competitor on my site. And those are all things that as we work with the AI and place guardrails and some of that fact checking and safeguards that we will apply, those are all things that we're focused on overcoming and making sure that the AI is doing only things that you want it to do and nothing else that you don't want it to do. Finally, before I close and actually pass this over to Max, I wanted to touch a little bit on, well, what does this mean for customer service channels? And so everybody has a contact center, voice, email, and chat are all channels in your contact center. Everybody's intimately familiar with the benefits and the trade-offs of every channel. But when you think about how AI plays into it, it turns out that the chat and messaging channel is the most AI optimized channel. And so as you see here, one of the challenges with voice in AI is sometimes voice recognition isn't flawless, whereas sending a text message, there's no confusion about what the actual text is because it's written in text. And then also sometimes longer answers can be hard to listen to. And you can't actually send an image that says like, here's how you fix the item, or you can't send a tracking link that says, here's the shipping link to your item. And so what I believe is as AI becomes more and more prevalent in answering simple routine questions, we're going to have to find ways to migrate some of those voice conversations into other channels. And that doesn't necessarily mean like diverting the call initially, but it does suggest that when somebody's in a call and they ask a question that could be solved, the initial answer may be provided, and then that call is switched over to a digital messaging channel for more details. Like for instance, your order has been shipped. Can I send you a text message with the link to the tracking information? And that makes the conversation be essentially multi-channel, both voice and a digital channel, so that you can really leverage the additional power that AI brings to the table. Okay, I've been talking a lot. And so at this point in time, you're probably like, well, enough slides already, show it to me. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. And I'm going to stop sharing, and Max is going to take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Actually, Mike, will you stop sharing for a moment and I'll go ahead and take over? Okay, perfect.
I thought I did stop sharing. Sorry.
No problem. Okay, awesome. So as Mike said, we're now going to walk through a bunch of examples. So we're going to be starting with customer examples. These are going to be generative AI assistants that your customers might interact with. We're also going to touch on the agent side of things and show how we're leveraging AI in the agent portal to make your agents more efficient. But we'll go ahead and start with the customer facing side of things. So we're actually going to start by looking at an in-market customer example. So this is Loop, who recently launched an LLM-powered generative AI assistant. It handles a range of frequently asked questions. And for context, Loop is a car insurance company that prides itself on offering great customer service and delivering a great product to their customers. And we're actually going to be comparing and contrasting their newly launched LLM assistant with their previous generation assistant that's actually still up in certain places, and showing how both versions handle the same type of customer questions. Let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to start with the previous generation assistant. And what you'll see when I open up the chat here is a main menu that's generally going to map to what those key contact drivers are for a brand. So in this case, if I click something like I need help getting a quote, we're going to have a good sort of general answer for that, where I've got information here, as well as different articles and FAQs I can click on, which is awesome. This works relatively well. If a customer kind of stays on track, stays on script, I can open up one of the articles and view it. But often where these fall down is when a customer starts asking real questions. So if I come in here and say something like, can I easily add my son to my policy? He's about to pass his driving test. Let's see what sort of response we get. So here I'm getting information about how to make a change to my policy that may be required to add my son to my policy. I'm not totally sure, but I'm not really getting an answer to my question the way I'd expect to. Now let's take a look at what the new LLM powered assistant can do here. So I'll ask basically the exact same question. Can I easily add my son to my policy? He's about to pass his driving test. Leave the typo in there, and I want to be ready. And I'll throw in also, will it raise my rate? So just ask 2 questions at once for good measure. And this especially is something that a previous generation assistant would really struggle with. So let's see what this comes back with. Okay, awesome. So once your son passes his driving test, you can add him as a rated driver. Adding a new driver may impact your rates, but we offer discounts. So I get a really nice succinct answer to both questions. And I also get a link to a knowledge base article if I want to learn more. So a really nice personalized answer. Okay, awesome. Let's jump back to the Gen 1 assistant and try another example. If I drive aggressively, will that change how much I'm charged each month? So we'll go ahead and send this in and see what we get back. So in this case, I'm getting an answer about how to discuss my contract renewal. I mentioned the word charged. I guess maybe we're picking up on that and rendering a response. Let's see what we get for the new assistant here. If I drive aggressively, will that change how much I'm charged each month? Go ahead and send that in. Okay, so as a usage-based insurance company, your driving behavior affects your premium at the time of your renewal. However, premiums do not go up on a monthly basis. So getting basically the exact answer to my question, hey, if I do drive aggressively, that might change my rates, but it's not going to change month over month. It'll change when I'm up for renewal. So getting a nice succinct answer to my exact question. Let's try something else here. Let's I've got a motorcycle and I want to know, do you offer coverage for my motorcycle? Go ahead and send it in. We'll see what we get matched with. Okay, so roadside assistance, probably a common question about a type of coverage they offer. Not exactly what I'm asking for though. So we're probably over-indexing on coverage there. Let's try it here. Do you offer coverage for my motorcycle? Okay, so unfortunately, they don't offer motorcycle coverage, but I am getting the exact answer to my question right in thread here. And I get information on what sort of coverage they offer and how much that coverage is up to. Let's try a quick follow-up. Do you have plans to offer more vehicle coverage? So leave that typo in there. And probably not a ton of information about this in Loop's knowledge base, to be honest, but we get we're always looking for ways to expand our coverage options while we don't have any specific plans to offer additional vehicle coverage at this time. So a pretty good answer right there. Let's try the same thing in the previous generation assistant here. You have plans to offer more vehicle coverage, see what we get. Okay, so basically getting that same answer around roadside assistance coverage, which once again is probably something their customers are asking pretty frequently. Okay, cool. So hopefully that was helpful in kind of understanding firsthand what a new LLM-powered assistant is able to do compared to a previous generation assistant. Now let's go ahead and switch gears to a slightly different experience. So this is going to be a demo site. They're actually going to be looking through a bunch of examples in the context of, and we're going to talk a bit more about what we call kind of a goal-directed or a goal-oriented flow. And you can think of that as anything from helping a customer add a bag to their flight, to purchasing an engagement ring, to rebooking a furniture delivery, or in our case, it's going to be booking a rafting trip. And flows like this are generally going to require tying into additional systems beyond just a knowledge base. So that could be an order management system, a booking system, a product catalog, or any number of internal systems. And a previous generation flow like this might be built statically with some light NOU, but oftentimes we just want customers to go ahead and click buttons. So let's go ahead and see what a flow like this looks like with a new generation LLM assistant. So I'm going to go and get started and say, hi, it's my mother's birthday, and we'd love to book a rafting trip for her and the family. So all responses here are going to be generated dynamically, nothing statically created here. So what dates are you looking to go rafting? Let's do the first week in August. So using pretty natural language there. It'll probably ask me what the actual date. Okay, cool. So what specific date? Letting me know we have availability for all days except Monday. I'll say, let's go with the 3rd. So it remembers that I'm talking about August, or it should remember that I'm talking about August here. It won't ask me to confirm what month. Okay, so awesome. Thanks for letting me know you want to go rafting on the 3rd. How many people will be in your group? And I'm going to ask a different question. I'm going to say, how much does it cost actually? So this is a really good example of something that would throw a previous generation assistant off. In this case, it gives me the cost of a half-day trip, the cost of a full-day trip, and still ask me how many people are going to be in my group. So I'll go ahead and say 5 or less. And once again, previous generation assistant would probably keep me locked in the flow or take me out and just answer that question. Now we're going to ask me, do I want a full day or half day? I'll go ahead and say, let's do a full day for my mom's birthday. Then we'll need to collect a little more information as part of this. Probably need name, email, things like that. Yep. Okay. So I'll go ahead and give that all at once here. So we're able to extract all of that at one time here. We don't need to ask 3 separate questions. So I'll just kind of put them in as I see fit with my name, my email, my phone number here. Okay, awesome. Get the confirmation for what I'm looking to do. That all looks good. So I'll go ahead and just click book reservation. And I get a nicely formatted bill right in thread here, but let's throw out another curveball. Actually, can you add another person? My son's friend is coming. So using natural language here, it's going to be able to pick that up, understand, okay, cool. So now it's going to be a group of 6, confirming the same date, full day trip, all that good stuff. I'll go ahead and say book reservation. And then I can actually just go ahead and do this pretty quick. We're using our quick pay functionality, so I can pay right in thread here, which is nice. I'll just go ahead and paste in the dummy credit card number, enter some additional information, my name, the dummy address here. Cool, go ahead and click pay now, and I should get a nice kind of confirmation with all that information. Awesome. So I get my summary of what I just did, and then they'll let me know that they'll send me reminders and updates via text. So hopefully between this and the loop example was a good way of seeing what's possible with new LLM-powered assistants and how that differed from what was possible with the previous generation assistant. Awesome. So now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the agent side of things. So it's obvious LLMs clearly have a ton of value in building out great fully automated experiences, like we just saw, but they can also help your agents achieve awesome results. So we're going to run through a few features that can help supercharge your agents' workflows. We're going to talk about Quick Compose, we're going to talk about Quick Summary, and we're going to talk about Quick Suggest. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into talking about Quick Compose. So Quick Compose enables agents to run messages through an LLM and improve response quality, language, tone, and grammar. So it enables all your agents to be more clear, concise, and empathetic in their language. It can enable agents with maybe less proficient writing or language skills, or newer agents to be more effective on day one. There are 2 different modes for Compose. The first enables agents to use it whenever they like. The second mode is going to, by default, run all messages through the LLM before an agent sends them, and we'll kind of show both of them here. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to start with auto compose, so where every message is going to run through the assistant first. So it's that same Quicksilver Mountain experience we saw, and I'll just go straight to an agent. So I'll say, can I speak to an agent? Go ahead and just say, yep. So that conversation will come into me. Go ahead and accept it. And let's start off with something like, hello, I'll misspell that. How can I help? Misspell that. And then you can see in the bottom right, instead of send, I get that compose option, which I'll click. That'll run through the LLM, give me a nicely formatted response. I can undo it if I'd like. I'll show that in a bit, but in this case, I'll just go ahead and send that in. And then I'll come back and say, hey, I'm looking to book a trip for my dad's birthday. There's going to be 10. Could almost use it on the user side as well. Would we be able to travel together? Okay. So now let's come over to the agent console here, and I'll go ahead and say no problem, misspell that one. 10 people split into 2 boats. Everyone traveled together. So here we've got a couple misspellings, not a full sentence here. So let's run that through Compose and see what we get back. Awesome. So you get a nicely formatted sentence here. That's easy to understand. I can go ahead and send that into the customer. Let's jump over here and just say, great. Thanks. Then let's just say something like, no problem. Do you need anything? Misspell that else. Run that through Compose here. And then, like I mentioned, we do have the ability to undo. So if I click that, it'll take me back to that previous version where I can then tweak this if I want, regenerate it like this. I also have the ability, let me just jump back one more time here. I do have the ability if I want to send it as is. So let's say I don't like what the LLM's giving me. I can send it in the way I'd like, but in this case, this is a great response. So I'll just go ahead and generate and send that in. I'll just say no, thanks. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and end this conversation. And I mentioned there were 2 modes of Compose, what we just saw there. We're running the conversation through every time. Let's just go ahead and end this from the user side as well. But if I go up into settings here and into message composition, I can toggle this off where I'm automatically running every message through Compose. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And then what we'll see now is the other mode for using Compose, which is going to place it alongside the other tools in my toolbar and let me use it a bit more at my discretion when I feel like it. So let's go ahead and get another conversation going here. Just get right to an agent again. We'll kind of bypass that Quicksilver Mountain Assistant. Can I speak to an agent? Let's go ahead and accept this conversation. And here, let's just greet this customer. So I'll say, hello, how can I help you today? I'll make sure I spell today right. So in this case, you can see I've got Compose down in the bottom left here with a handy shortcut if I want to use it, but I've also just got my normal send here, which in this case, I don't really need help making this message any better. I'll go ahead and just send it in as is. And let's run through that same sort of scenario. Can you help me book a trip for my family on August 5th? And now as an agent, I can use Compose in a bunch of different ways. So let's say here, I want to do a little shorthand. So I'll just say, yeah, I need number of guests, full day, or half day. Then I can book and I can go ahead and run that through Compose. And that'll give me from that shorthand a really nice formatted sentence that I can go ahead and then send into that customer. So I can undo it just like I could in the previous version. But I can use it at my discretion to help me speed up as an agent if I want to just type some shorthand, get a nicely formatted response back from Compose. And that's that. So a great way to help improve all of your agents, be more efficient, provide better messaging to your customers. And now let's take a look at conversation summary. So collaboration, whether it's between AI assistants and agents, or between multiple agents is a really core part of any great customer service or sales org. And conversation summary uses LLMs to provide a succinct summary of conversations when they get transferred to a new agent from an assistant or from another agent. It also provides managers and admins a great look into conversations when they've closed. So let's go ahead and take a look at what a conversation summary looks like in action here. So here, similar situation. In this case, I'm jumping in at kind of the end of a conversation I had. So you can see I've got a full back and forth where I went ahead and booked a reservation like we saw just a moment ago in the customer facing example. I'm going to go ahead and come down here and just request an agent. So let me make sure I mark myself as available here so I can actually take this conversation. Let's try that one more time. I'll go ahead and just say, yep. And so what you'll see when this conversation comes in, obviously I've got the whole conversation in thread here, but I've also got this really nice summary up top where I can see, okay, awesome. The customer's booking a surprise rafting trip for their son's 13th birthday. Here's the date they booked on, all that good stuff. Now I've also got my full right-hand extension here, just like normal. I've just got it kind of collapsed for the purpose of showing both these side by side. But this summary I can close up here. It's just a great way for me to understand exactly what this customer is trying to do at a high level without needing to read through that conversation. So I can just come in and say, hello, congratulations on your son's upcoming birthday trip. How many I assist you? Oops, probably could have ran that one through Compose 2, got a little typo in there. That's okay. I can obviously read through the transcript here. There might be some important back and forth that I want to just double check, but summary gives me a really nice way to just understand right away what this customer's asked about, what the back and forth has been like so far, and allows me in this case as an agent to jump in really quick and go ahead and give that customer a hand. So now let's shift gears and take a look at another feature we have called Quiq Suggest. You can think of Suggest as your own personalized autocomplete that's trained only on your agent's conversations. So it learns from your conversations and can speak in your brand's language and tone. Your Suggest model can be weighted more heavily to learn from your top agents if you'd like, while maybe deprioritizing or ignoring other agents. It really reduces time for new agents to ramp, lowers average handle time, and increases the quality of your responses. So let's go ahead and take a look at this in action as well. So similar scenario to what we've seen before, we're going to be using Quicksilver Rafting again. So you can see here, I've got a pre-filled response already. It's got my name, which is awesome. So I can send that in. If we had the customer name as well, that variable could be filled out as well. And then I'll go ahead and say I placed an order and haven't received confirmation yet. So I'm going to get a response over here. I'll go ahead and say, do you mind letting me know? I'll tab, and it knows I'm going to be asking for email or phone because that's going to be common in a situation like this. So I can just tab and go ahead and send that. So I'll go ahead and say, yeah, it was max@quiq.com and my phone number 2555. Go ahead and send that in, get an easy tab, thanks. Now as an agent, I'm going to have to kind of quickly look up what's wrong with this customer order, but I can just kind of tab into that, thanks. So I'll go ahead and send that real quick. And in this case, I'm going to go look at this customer information. There was actually an issue with the email they entered. So let me just let that customer know. There was this mistake with your in the email. And in this case, Compose is helping me complete here, but this is a little bit of a different situation than what commonly is encountered. So I'm going to have to type a little bit of this here. There was a mistake in your email when you checked out. I just fixed it. Okay, awesome. So it's kind of picked up what I'm trying to do here, letting me just tab in to say that I have sent that customer information to show that change. And then on this side, I can go ahead and come in and just say, just got it, thanks. We'll come back over here and say, great. Is there anything else I can help you with? Tab and just send that in. And let's just try, is it too late to change my order? And let's just check on the agent side. So let me just take a look. So their order has shipped, so that's not going to be possible. So I'll just kind of start this sentence here and Suggest should pick up on what I'm trying to do pretty quick here. So your order has already shipped, tab through that. And then let's see but you can easily initiate a return, and then awesome. So it's actually going to give me a link that I can send to that customer. So it's not just pulling in kind of simple autocomplete, is actually giving me a link I can use for that customer. So I'll go ahead and send that in. And then on the customer side, I'll go ahead and say, great, thanks. We'll just go ahead and do one more. Is there anything else I can help you with? I'll go ahead and say, nope. And I'll just have a great day. And we can go ahead and end that conversation. So that's Quiq Suggest, provides real-time relevant suggestions as your agents are typing, and is another really great tool in the agent toolbox. So that's a pretty good summary of all the awesome functionality we have on the agent AI side of things, as well as on the customer-facing side of things with the LLM-powered assistants. Mike, I can turn it back over to you here.
Thanks, Max. Okay, to wrap up, if you like the LLM Assistant demo that Max gave, want to share it with somebody else, you want to watch it again, we have a version of that demo available. You see the URL on the screen, it's kind of long. It's also in the chat at this point in time. So encourage everyone to watch it again and share it, because we think the technology is pretty special and would love to work with you to implement similar technology at your business. All right, we've reached the end of our agenda for today. Thank you very much. In addition to being available during the session, we're going to stay online for a little while afterwards. So feel free to answer any questions that you have in the chat. Both Max and my email addresses are on the bottom of the page as well. So feel free to reach out to us individually if you'd like to ask some further questions about what you saw today. And of course, at any point in time, come and visit our website, quiq.com. And I'd also encourage everybody to visit that generative AI page that I referenced earlier. Lots of good information out there. Thanks for everyone's time. Everybody have a great rest of the day. And we'll be online to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.